In a world full of movie podcasts, here is one more. Welcome to Defend Your Movie with Sean Donnelly
and Andrew Fiore.
The time has come again. The champion must end. It can only be one of us. Victoria! So stand up and fight, my friend. There's a title you must defend. Shut it on and on. Bring it to me. Defend your movie.
Hello, Defenders. Welcome to another episode of your favorite podcast and mine. It is Defend Your Movie. I am one of your lovable co-hosts, Andrew Fiore, along with my equally, if not more lovable, sidekick. No.
We can think of other adjectives, I guess. We can think shakeable. Well, not shakeable.
That voice here is, of course, Sean Donnelly.
Yes. Hello there, Defenders.
Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you, my friend. Thank you so much for meeting me again for another episode of the podcast.
Of course.
It's always a pleasure to hang out and talk movies. And we have a very, very funny guest today. Super funny dude.
Yeah.
You see him all over the place. Evan Williams, ladies and gentlemen.
E-dubs.
Guys, good to be here.
Thank you for doing this, man.
E-dubs. I always feel cooler when people say E-dubs.
E-dubs. Do you feel cool?
A little bit.
I wish I had an initialed name that you can't do anything with AF. It's just like AF. And when As Fuck came around,
Yeah.
it kind of was like, oh, a glimmer of hope.
It was a glimmer of hope for you.
Yeah, it had nothing going
Well,
on.
because
AF.
it was
I
a
like,
thing.
like, oh, it's
moment of
for
panic for me.
As Fuck, you know?
Yeah.
Because you were-
I thought you said ass fuck.
No, As
okay.
Fuck.
Yeah,
it would be
no,
like
that's
AF,
better.
AF. And then it would throw me off because you'd see people just writing, I was high AF the other day.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, that throws me off.
Can you see your initials?
Yeah, I see my initials.
You're
Yeah.
Andy AF all the time.
But I don't have like my friend Lindsay's, like LD, who's got like
I'm
Larry David.
SD.
Yeah, it doesn't have the same like
Nah.
LD,
What's your middle, dude?
Joseph. AJF is not working in any direction.
No.
AJF?
Tried to swing into it
No.
and nothing came.
My middle is even worse. SPD. It sounds like STD.
Yeah. Ooh, a little too close.
I'm EMW. I sound like a
That sounds
new
like
car.
a medical worker.
Yeah,
I'm going to school to be an EMW.
My cousin Denise Teresa Fiore, DTF.
Oh, nice.
Down the fuck, baby.
Oh, she must. Oh, my God. I feel bad.
Well, she's a little older. She was like, yeah, I made it almost 45 years of my life before that became a thing.
You're right.
Like, no.
It's way more popular.
She's like,
now.
I made it through the obstacle courses of grade school and high school and college before that ever became a real known acronym.
Yeah, that's awful. That sucks. I feel
that's
bad.
past the years where that would have been something you would even own. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
in your 40s, it's like you don't talk like that.
But man, you were a Thomas away from being an STD.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm still a very Irish Sean Thomas.
Yeah. I think I said this before on the podcast. My initial name was going to be Terrence Aloysius. That was going to be my first and middle name.
Wow.
Because
Tad.
my sister was Tara Ann, so they were going to keep a TA.
Aloysius is from that nun parable, right?
Is it?
What's
I don't
it
know.
called?
I think it's super
What's
Irish.
the one that Sean Patrick Flannery or whatever? It was a movie with Meryl Streep. She won for it. What?
Oh, I don't even know.
Doubt.
Oh,
Sister
Doubt.
Aloysius was Meryl Streep.
It's
in
a
Doubt.
very religious name for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was just like they were looking at Irish names. And they were like,
Yeah,
oh, yeah, Terrence Aloysius.
Aloysius.
I don't even know how to spell
always-
that now.
I always pronounce it wrong. I'm finding out right now. I always said Aloysius.
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 That's like the Jewish way to say it.
Yeah.
Can we talk about this
It just
Aloysius?
sounds like you're more nauseous or something. Aloysius right now, dude.
Thank you so much for doing this, dude.
Yeah, man.
Usually we bullshit a little bit. Did you see anything this week that you want to talk about?
I did, yeah. I saw It Chapter 2. Saw
And-
it opening night, as I see almost every movie. I have a
Yeah,
problem.
you are really good about opening
Oh.
nights.
Well, here's the thing.
Problem.
That's why I'm
Yeah.
excited you're doing this, because you're a huge movie guy.
Yeah, I've been dreaming of doing this podcast for years. I'm not even kidding. It sounds like I'm being sarcastic.
No, but
I've dreamed so long that I've missed the ones I wanted to talk about. Like people have already defended Tokyo Drift. People have already defended A couple that I would have come in here and really gone to bat for. Batman versus Superman was one.
Yes. Yeah. That was when we had
Nathan is the best guy to have done that, though. I've talked to him, like,
well, he has
for hours.
Yeah, he's nonstop, and he has issues with the Marvel movies, and we got
he's
into
one step
it.
away from being like, Snyder cut, bro. You know what I mean?
Yes.
He's one step away. He's not that.
I don't know why everybody's going nuts. Let's talk about that for a second before we get into it, too. Do you know about this thing? About there's a Snyder cut of what is it of
Justice League
that people are going nuts for?
No.
Yeah. So
And is it supposed to be good? Is that the thing, or is it like how does he have a legion of fans with his track record? That's what I okay. And I know the guy had like personal issues or what's going on.
Yeah. Well, he stopped the movie because of personal issues. It is unfortunate.
Which is
a child of his killed themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally sad.
That sucks. But critics hate him, but he does have an audience base that loves him.
I don't see how. I don't like him. I think the best thing he did was The Watchmen, and that's not even that good.
Yeah, that was so to the letter of the book. Like he put none of his own creativity into that.
It was a bore of a movie to me.
It was a bore.
I think it had cool scenes in it. I think it was like this weird ominous thing.
The opening is really cool, and then just gets. Ooh.
Yeah, I think Dawn of the Dead though is his best. The Dawn of the Dead remake is one of the best
did
remakes
he do
of all
that?
time. Yeah, he did.
Okay, that's my favorite one.
Yeah, it's
Dawn of the Dead remake is great. You mean with Ty Burrell from Modern Family?
Modern Family.
It's actually a great
dirty Modern Family,
and he also nailed the feel of it. It has a very campy, trashy feel to it.
And he's doing another one now. He's doing like Army of the Dead or something like that.
Is he?
Yeah.
All right, that I like.
Chris D'Elia in it.
Really? I can see that.
Yeah.
But that I like. But when I saw Batman vs Superman overall, I didn't like it, but I didn't mind as much as people would think they would. That's what
I did not like it in theaters, and then I watched the extended cut, and it shouldn't be fair that you can like make it better later, and then like in hindsight be like, oh, that was a good movie. The theatrical is not a good movie because it was missing like so much context. And the extended is like an hour longer, and it just everything made more sense. Like in the movie, like in theaters, like Superman was just like all of a sudden he'd be on top of a mountain, like talking to a ghost of his dad, and you're like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
But, like at least in the extended cut, like they show him on that walk, and he like comes across like some mountain folk, and they're like, don't go up there, it's mystical up there, whatever. It just adds context.
It adds context to the story.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing. It's like other movies that he's done. If you're running down the list, like most of them, like no.
300. We all lost our minds at that time for 300, right? Did you like it then?
I never liked 300.
Yeah, man. You guys are naming these. This is like I didn't realize he was associated with all that. I'm just going, ooh, no. I haven't checked off one box yet.
Yeah.
And it's
Not
also,
even Dawn of the Dead.
I didn't see the remake.
Oh, okay.
You know what does it for me also with him is that he took over for these DC movies after you had the Nolan ones, and it's not his fault that he did that.
Right.
But
Yeah.
you're not. Sorry, you're not going to win in my eyes. with that.
No, especially when you make Batman a murderer. You know, I won't argue that was the right decision. That was awful.
It was awful. Yeah, 'cause that's one of the main sticking points of Batman.
Like the thing that he is.
That's
He's a guy
why
that
his
doesn't-
relationship with the Joker was a thing. They talk about it in Dark Knight.
It was funny to watch him back up his stance on it too, because
What did he
like
say?
when at first they were like he kills people, and he's like, no, he doesn't. And they're like, he kills a lot of people, and he was like, no, he shoots something that blows up, and then the explosion killed them. And it's like, what? That's killing somebody. And then later he was like, yeah, he kills people.
We're not arguing in court.
Yeah, right.
To get this knocked down to a manslaughter charge.
Yeah. And in past Batman in iterations, if he would have shot something that blew up people, you would see them rolling and wiping themselves off.
Right.
Like
yeah,
they would have made sure to be like, Batman didn't kill him. That's his thing.
Also, if someone
murder.
has 70 counts of manslaughter.
Not it.
Yeah.
I'm still alive, Batman. I'm good. I'm a henchman.
I am good, Batman. Yeah.
I'm totally fine. Because that's the thing. Because I think the whole thing is like his parents were murdered. There you go.
You can't.
No matter how dark it gets, you never take a life. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the major thing.
Yeah.
You absolutely. So that's what I mean. There you go. There's one sticking point of why he stinks.
Sure.
That's what I mean. Like I don't see
Justice League was very bad.
Justice League. I couldn't. I
couldn't.
I
But
watched 20 minutes.
I turned it off.
So Snyder Cut is saying that those are his fans saying that wasn't his fault, and that there's a Snyder
happen,
Cut out there because he had a vision for the movie that changed in between Batman vs Superman and Justice League because he made such a dark movie with Batman vs Superman, and that's actually what I like about the movie is that it's the first one that there was no jokes, it was dark, and like there were consequences, and like Superman blew up in a courtroom full of people, and there was like it was more real than a lot of superhero movies I'd seen. And the studio, though, listened to the box office and was like, oh, people don't like this. You need to make it funnier and like more sitcom-y like Marvel. And so he did that, and then he lost a child and stepped away, and Joss Whedon came in and made it even more
like that,
like colorful and stuff. And if you watch the trailer, they literally changed the color of the movie. Like the color was darker, and like
really,
there's like a scene where there's this big battle, and it's like very dark in the first trailer, and then you see the movie, and it's just this like bright red energy is like buzzing all around it and stuff, and there's all this stuff in the trailer that didn't show up in the movie, like cyborg, like there's all this cyborg stuff that didn't happen.
It's way darker.
So the fans think that there's just all these clips on the cutting room floor that they can cut together and easily make it the Snyder Cut. But what they don't understand is that it's impossible. There's things that he didn't shoot that would cost millions of dollars to now go shoot for a movie that didn't make a lot of money.
Right.
That they can't guarantee people are going to buy the copy of, you know?
Right. Well, that's the whole point. It's like it's one of those things where it's almost like when they have somebody does an interview or somebody's on a reality show and after it's like, no, they edited me wrong. I'm actually a nice guy. Or like, you know, even from Comedian, we all know Comedian, the documentary, Orny Adams, he's like, they edited me wrong. He's like, no, there was things you can't back out of what you said.
You at least gave them hours of bad stuff to put in. Right. You know what I mean?
So unless he filmed a completely separate movie, it's still going to look like garbage.
If there is an hour of footage of him being a wonderful guy, then he's bipolar. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, on that, But I'm saying as far as Zack Snyder goes, like, even if with, how much could you have extra on the director's cut? That usually just adds a couple of scenes into it. Maybe I don't even know what director's cut, you know.
I don't even care.
It doesn't really matter.
It doesn't
I think
matter.
it's usually just an angle to.
It's not going to happen, and so it doesn't matter.
But that's what I mean. Like, I'm sorry for the guy's personal loss, but
of course,
I've never once been like, oh, that Zack Snyder movie.
Yeah.
It's like, and also and he was like young when he was handed over the keys to that universe. He was screwing it up. It was not doing well, and they just still. He has somebody by the balls or something because they just kept giving him movies.
Yeah, he did 3.
He did 3.
He was going to do more.
Is he done now?
He's been done. Yeah, he's been done for a while.
He's been done.
They completely rebranded the whole franchise.
Wonder Woman. Here's the thing, though. Wonder Woman, great.
Yeah,
great. I don't see it. Did you not like it?
It was good. It was really like, I feel like it was overhyped because of just the fact that they made something that was good. Everybody was like, "Oh my god!"
Well, there you go.
Know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it was fine. I think it was fine. You know. Yeah.
But it really was so much better than.
Of course.
What
and Aquaman was fun. It was dumb, but it was really fun.
See, I didn't even watch Aquaman.
Couldn't get through Aquaman either.
You couldn't get through it?
No.
Well, just the premise.
I understand that absolutely.
Yeah.
It's goofy, man.
So you
there's an octopus playing a drum set.
Is there really in it? I didn't see it.
Yeah, there's an octopus that plays the bongos.
Wow. That guy's badass. That guy, Jason Momoa.
He is
that
badass.
Guy's super badass. That guy's...
There's a scene at the end where he's whipping around this like rod in this like martial art way, and it's like whipping water everywhere, and you're like, yes, that's what you're supposed to do.
You're
this
making
whole time.
Aquaman cool.
They tried to make you just tell jokes earlier, and it was awful. But when you spun that rod, dude, I was all in.
You spun that rod.
From one badass to another, I watched The Mule this week.
Oh,
man. Old school badass, the original badass.
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood.
Get off my lawn.
I can't look at him and not see my dad anymore. They have like the same old guy, like body shape and movements.
Really?
And they like even facially look similar.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, so The Mule's
about how
I'll tell you, I don't think it didn't do well because it came out and then was done.
It did okay box office wise. I think it got like not panned, but it didn't get lauded. You know, it was people were just like, yeah, it's an okay movie, which is my take.
And he directed it.
It's a Clint Eastwood directed movie.
It's a cool idea.
And he stars in it, and it's an older gentleman in his late 80s who has ruined his relationships with his family and is now broke and his home's getting foreclosed on. And it's a really weird setup. A friend of his daughter's, he's invited to the wedding, and one of her bridesmaids just happens to overhear him like being down on his luck, and she's like, I have a connection to the Mexican drug cartel.
Like, how does she think that's good? This will cheer you up.
She's like,
I can implicate you in a huge drug ring.
So
you get the feds on your tail.
This is actually a true story, though. It's based on a book of this guy who used to run drugs for the Sinaloa cartel.
And he was an older guy.
Which is like one of the hugest ones yet because it was such a great cover.
Great cover.
And he made all these runs, but the movie, and I didn't care enough to like research it thoroughly, it just kind of ends. like it really just kind of ends.
So nothing happens.
He
to
just
him.
kind of Bradley Cooper is just kind of on his trail as an FBI agent.
Bradley
and
Cooper is in the Mule.
He's in the Mule.
I didn't
Yeah,
know
he
that.
plays the FBI agent, and they're tracking him. And they just kind of have the showdown where they finally stop him, and it just he basically just like. I don't know if spoiler alerts, but he basically makes amends with his family, and then it's like they're in court, and then it just kind of ends with him in like a work prison, and like that's it.
Yeah,
It
just
really
straight up.
shuts down.
Well, you know what it is?
Sometimes,
It's
like you were waiting, you're like, what? Not even like a recap on the screen, you know? It was one of those where I was just like, oh, I was enjoying it up until just all of a sudden it just like dove off a cliff and ended.
But they just told the story.
Yeah, but it wasn't like
I
a
don't
super
mind that,
traumatic
man.
ending.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just like kind of on the edge of my seat. They made it like they were building up to a big, huge standoff, and then it was just kind of like, oh no, you're just under arrest, and he pleads guilty in court. He's like, no, I did this, I'm guilty, because they were trying to get like lesser charges and all. You know, he's not in his right mind, he's old, he doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I'm guilty, but it really was just a hard left turn.
Maybe that's the thing. There's a whole idea that the fact that it wasn't that is the thing.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
right.
We're surrounded by movies where there has to be this, like, holy shit, there's this turn, there's this Shyamalan,
Yeah, maybe.
ding
I guess
dong
so.
type thing, and this, but
Right.
but you're right. Sometimes, but if it seems anticlimactic,
Very anticlimactic.
that can hurt. That can hurt your opinion of a movie when you turn around and go,
Yeah.
oh, I know, I don't mind you just telling a straight up story, but you didn't give me the drama that you gave me earlier in the movie.
But
that's
the
what
whole,
you're saying.
I will tell you this: the whole ride was very enjoyable. It's Clint Eastwood being an old guy and like kind of not caring and like talking to the Mexican guys like he would talk to anybody else. He'd be like, "All right, easy, essay," you know? Like,
Yeah.
And there's this one scene where he meets these. He's on the roads and he like pulls over and there's these like this big lesbian biker gang, and he's like he knows cars, so he's like, "Oh, sir, I think you're." It's your starter thing, and it turns around to this big butch lesbian. She's like, you think I'm a man? He's like, well, what are you? And they're like, we're dykes on bikes. But they're kind of cool because he's old. So
Yeah.
she's just like, all right, have a good day, old man. And he's like, have a good day, dykes. It's endearing on like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
it's
that's kinda
like,
funny.
oh, it's old folksy grandpa racism.
It's like the same reason he didn't get in trouble for that movie.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
Clint Eastwood was
Totally.
old. And
It's the same thing as like
You know
Gran
what I mean?
Torino, which
Right.
has some of the funniest racism.
Oh, yeah.
He just completely
Yeah.
calling Asian guys ching chong and
Zipper
click
heads
clack.
and-
Like,
Yeah,
Jesus
yeah.
Christ,
It's crazy,
But, yeah, it's
man.
all Clint Eastwood, you know.
I just thought when I heard that he was in a movie called The Mule, I thought it was just going to be a movie of him walking around with drugs up his ass. That's what a mule is. That's like what
God.
a mule does.
that is true. It's like, nah,
Uncomfortable.
And then one more quick one.
I don't feel so lucky. And what was the other one you saw?
The Favorite.
Oh, I love
Now,
I
what
had
do
it
you-
on my DVR for a long time, and I had a night off over the weekend. I was just like, you know what? Let me just watch it. I didn't normally those kind of girls. I don't know. This is going to come out the wrong way, but I ended up loving it. I thought it was shot really beautifully, and it was directed really well. It was like it was really dark comedy, and I surprised myself with how much
Who
I enjoyed
did it? Somebody big did it, right?
It's the guy who's done like
a very
I always
Greek name.
forget his Greek name, but he did like,
like
Killing of a Sacred Deer. And he did The Lobster.
A favorite I never watched.
Yes, which I didn't like either of those.
I didn't like The Lobster. I love Killing of a Sacred Deer. Randomly, I just really love that.
Yeah, and the favorite.
Yorgos Lanthimos.
and
There you
you.
go.
So the favorite was
Never
good.
would have said that to my
Yeah, it was Olivia. They're all three. Rachel Weisz is great. Olivia Colman is great.
She won the
and-
Oscar for it,
Yeah, she
Olivia
won the Best
Colman.
Actress Oscar for it.
Yeah.
and Emma Stone is great. And it's
All
shot.
nominated.
It's very like it's almost it like reminded me of like Barry Lyndon a lot.
Yeah, those
It was
fisheye,
very-
those wide fisheye
just
shots.
yeah,
were
crazy,
incredible,
like,
man.
very,
like Victorian sets
oh,
and
just like-
wardrobe. It's amazing, dude.
Yeah.
And it's really funny.
It's
like,
really
super
darkly funny.
Olivia
and-
Colman's fucking incredible.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Very highly recommended.
I gotta check it out. Don't tell me the ending on that one because I'm gonna watch it.
All right, sir.
Did you ever see? And it really is kind of a non sequitur, but it came out a couple of years ago. It was the movie Thoroughbreds. I don't think we ever talked about it
Yeah.
on the. What do you think of that movie?
Remind me.
It is
I like it.
a.
It's kind of like the Heathers.
It's kind of like Heather's. It's about these two girls that
Yeah.
set up. The one girl's stepdad, right? Stepdad? Or is there
Yeah,
right,
Anna Taylor-Joy is the girl from The Witch. She was in it. She was like the lead.
And I thought it was pretty good. It's super Hitchcockian. Like they take on when I saw it at what's that place in Williamsburg? The Williamsburg Theater.
Draft House, Alamo Draft House.
Yeah, something like that.
Nighthawk.
They were like playing clips of Hitchcock movies before you watch this movie.
Nice.
Because
I love
the thing,
that. I love that they do that.
there's a scene. There's like there's something going. I don't know how to describe this. All right, there's a spoiler alert coming.
Uh-huh.
Are you going to watch it or no?
Nah.
They take full on. They just rip off an entire shot, but it's a shot that Hitchcock started. Like they're not the first to rip it off.
Which shot?
It's from Frenzy. It's when the guy's murdering the woman in the apartment, and they back up, and then you go from hearing the sound of the apartment into slowly the sound of the street, and then you're just out on the street and you don't hear what's going on in the apartment, to give you the idea of like nobody knows what's going on.
Yeah.
And they do that with the father's room, and they go down the stairs, and I don't even think there's any ambient noise. It's not even a street. It's just like what's going on in the kitchen or whatever it is, or the silence of not being able to hear it downstairs or whatever it is. But it's full on. They were trying an homage to Alfred Hitchcock. It had to be what it was. And I think it was I think the plot was that. Everything about it was like, we're just going to do our own version of the Hitchcock movie.
Yeah,
But I never talked about it on the podcast, I don't think. And it's really, really good. And it's really deadpan, and it can be kind of funny.
Yeah.
It wasn't this amazing movie, but it was definitely, it wasn't as good as like a Hitchcock movie.
Yeah,
if you're going to watch a Hitchcock movie, watch Rear Window. But if you.
Right,
Yeah.
right. No,
Yeah.
favorite really, it surprised me because, it reminded me of Amadeus a lot in there.
Really?
And Barry Lyndon. Yeah, just in the ornateness of the set design.
Of how.
Crazy, like, set design.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And
Beautiful movie.
costume
Yeah.
design was wild.
Yeah.
Like,
What's the time
I didn't even
period?
realize that was.
It's 1700s. It's like
okay.
early 18th century.
Wow.
It's Queen Anne, yeah.
Like, I didn't even realize that was Nicholas Hoult until later.
Right.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
And you saw it too.
I did.
We're all friends with Dan St. Germain.
Yes.
St. Germain said, "Hey,
He's an animal.
Come." He's an
He's
animal.
an actual animal.
He was like, "Do you
That's
want
his
to come see it too with me?" I'm like, "No, I hate scary movies.
Why do
And
you hate them?
I don't like getting.
You don't like the jumps?
You don't like getting scared? You're the best person to watch it with. That's what I love watching scary. I'm a huge horror movie
Me
guy.
too.
Yeah, awesome. And isn't it the best to watch it with someone who hates it? Because, like, it works on them still. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
For me, like,
it still works on me, though, which is why I still...
Oh, good for you, man.
Yeah.
It works on me sometimes. Like,
Yeah, here's the thing. I really pick and choose my horror movies. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like hardcore where I know everything and I see everything, but I love the genre.
Yeah.
But I'm not seeing every single horror movie or
Right.
like even B horror movie or like the underground ones.
Well, there's a lot that are very bad, right? There's tons
Sure,
that are like,
sure.
But, like,
are
name a
shit.
genre where there's not a bunch of bad examples.
Absolutely, you're right. Yeah.
But that is something with horror. Like, people are like, oh, there's so many bad ones. And I'm like,
You know what it is?
it's
a lot
not
of
you, it's
times-
everybody.
A lot of times they use no names, and they can be very kind of like B movie feeling on purpose. That's why I
it's
think people go to that.
It makes more money than any genre because it costs $3 million to make. Except for It. That was like a $60 million movie.
Well,
but
look at the Blumhouse.
that's the model at Blumhouse. Yeah, it's like, we're
That's
not
the
going
new
to make
model.
it over $10 million. And like, they got offered It Chapter 1 and they turned it down. Because
it would have been a big budget movie.
Yeah, but then it ended up being the highest grossing horror movie of all time.
It number one?
The biggest opening of a horror movie ever.
Really?
And It
I'll have to
Chapter
watch
2
the
is
new
the
one.
second biggest opening of a horror movie ever.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
And now, what's the verdict? It's creepy. It's super creepy. It's like
I don't want to...
Here's my problem.
I haven't seen
I'm not
it
gonna
yet, so I
spoil
will
it.
still watch it.
I'm not going to spoil a single thing. I'm just going to say that the middle hour is 3 hours. That's too
That
long.
was my other thing. Where I was
It's too long.
Oh, like, we got to cut down on
Listen,
movies.
it's
not to
1,100.
sidetrack, but-
Yeah.
yeah.
No, we do. And
We
it's like-
do, absolutely.
It's an 1,150 page book.
Yeah.
And so it's really long.
Well, that's why it was originally a mini-series.
Right.
Yeah,
Like the very
right.
first
But even
production
the
of it.
miniseries was what, maybe 4 hours?
Yeah.
Maybe 3.5 hours, and this is now
yeah.
5.5 hours because it's part 1 and part
Right.
2, and so it's just a little much, man. There's this whole hour in the middle. I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's just Pennywise. It happens in the first movie. It's bound to happen again. Pennywise just visits the adults one at a time, and the structure of that is the same every time he visits them. And so, like, by the second visit to the adults, you're like, oh, he's going to show up. There's going to be a flashback to when they were a kid. Then they're going to flashback to now. We're going to see how he scares them now. And it's like, and it just happens one after another. It's like 10 minutes in, you're like, oh, I'm going to watch this for 50 minutes. And it just kind of dragged.
Did you enjoy the first
thing,
one?
What's that?
Did you enjoy the first one?
I love the first
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
And I like this one. I like this one. The final act is amazing. Like, I thought the final act was, like, really fun. It was a little too big, but that's just what the book is. Like, Stephen King was snorting coke, and, like, he was like, let's put a magical turtle that carries the universe on its back. That's not in the movie. But, like, you know, and let's also make this guy a spider, and, like, this is crazy. And I like the ending. I'm not going to get into it. I will just say the movie as a whole is too much CGI for me. I think like practical stuff in horror is way scarier.
Absolutely. I think it was the less you do in horror, keep it simple.
Yeah, that's why Blumhouse...
If you go too big, you go, well, I'm already kind of suspending my reality because it's a horror movie. And now I just know, it's too computerized.
Yeah, man. If
You're
it
like,
is
that
big,
blows
make it a set, make it a puppet, make it a robot. If we have technology to make the digital effects so good, we also have the technology to make the practical effects good. So spend the money on practical, because now I know the actors are actually on set with something that they're reacting to, as opposed to like a tennis ball in the middle of a green screen, you know? And so they're running, and I'm like, you're not running from anything. And like, and another weird thing in this movie, and it's just, you know, Stranger Things has to deal with it. They got to film really quick because these kids are growing up. A thing in this movie is there was a gap of like a couple years between shooting, and these kids shot up in height, and so they CGI'd the kids to be younger.
Oh, I saw that online. Yeah.
And so there was multiple times I was looking at these
The kid
kids.
from Stranger Things did it. Wolfgang, whatever his name is.
Yeah, he's so tall now, man. He's taller than me.
Yeah,
and
he's like 17 or he's
they
like
had to
16.
shrink the guy like a Wayans brother movie. They had to like make him something he's not.
White chicks.
It's like white chicks.
The Stranger Things kids got really lucky. They've done it really well.
Yeah.
Where like,
well, they jump a year each time for the story.
Well, that's what's great about that story, but in this...
They're cutting back to the same year in their life, but the kids are 2 years older. And so I'm just looking at the faces. And I asked somebody who didn't know that ahead of time. I asked them after the movie, did you notice their CGI faces? He was like, no, but I thought that they were acting worse. Like they were using their face in a weird way. And I was like, no, they weren't using their face in a weird way.
CGI was.
A computer generator was using it. You know what I mean?
See, that's the problem with that CGI, that new CGI.
You gotta get up on that mic,
oh,
bud.
sorry, buddy. That's the problem with that new CGI thing, is that
it's incredible.
It works in certain realms. Like it worked with Guardians of the Galaxy with Kurt Russell.
Action movie.
Amazing.
Perfect.
It's because it's Disney. Disney has the best...
technology.
Like, the best processing, whatever. Like, they have, like, the best technology for it.
Well, I also thought it was because you're not... You see him as a young guy for a scene or two.
That's another thing. So I
it
also...
can't be a whole movie.
But not just that. Kurt Russell has been in a ton of movies as a young guy, and so they have a lot of references to make him younger.
Yeah, good
and
point.
These kids have only been in one or two movies. And they don't have
let me ask you this. Is there a thing between, I guess, production houses or companies or studios that they're all not basically using like the same kind of CGI software? Like, you know, when like editors like Avid became the thing, and it was just like the industry standard. Mm-hmm. So you're saying there's like people who just do CGI better because they have the better technology. They're like, and we're not sharing it with anybody.
I don't know.
I think there's also
I don't know if there's like an
better
event.
animators.
Yeah, sure.
Better
like,
and more money.
And like, so maybe they're under contract from certain studio. You know,
I went to a place once.
I guess more money.
They were sharing. I was in an office. And they were sharing their office with people who were doing basically this. Like they were doing the editing for a live action movie, and the girl was doing it pixel by pixel by pixel. It was insane.
Yeah,
I would shoot myself in the head if I had that
frame by
job.
frame sometimes.
Frame by frame, and then she had a picture. Hey, we need to have tears rolling down this girl's face. So pixel by pixel, she was placing tears down, and then you think you have a whole tear done, and you're not even on one little droplet.
Oh my lord!
And that's partially bad planning. And it's like, first of all, anything I know about this is from this amazing YouTube series called CGI Artists React to Good and Bad CGI.
Oh, that sounds great!
There's
I gotta check that out.
There's like episodes 1 through 10 of that now. And it's incredible. They watch like Scorpion King to Thanos, and they
just pick out all the shit.
They tell like why that's bad and like who like. Why the artists even came across something that was so hard to do, and it's usually because of like bad scheduling or like bad planning with the director and the producers. They're just like, let's just shoot it. The artists will figure it out later. It's like if you work together, it's much easier. Like
because they know what they're going to encounter when they get the film.
Yeah.
That's like when, but this also might be a time thing. When Gladiator came out, they did the CGI in Gladiator, there was a lot of big faux pas in that. There's
one guy that like died, and they
one of the stunt guys, right?
No, not even, dude. Oliver Reed, the amazing actor. Oliver Reed.
Yeah, but he died during making it.
They put him in another scene. CGI.
Well, no, also, even with the tiger, there was a tiger scene where he's going after Russell Crowe, and if you watch it, his arm, the tiger's arm goes through Russell Crowe. Like, it's like one of the, it's a major...
Yeah.
It's a major
They'll point
mistake.
out that stuff. They'll go like frame by frame. Like there's like a really bad plane crash in Air Force One with Harrison Ford, and they show frame by frame. At one frame, the plane just disappears. Like it's just not there. And then it's back a second later.
But that's from, look at that. Air Force One's 97.
Yeah,
so they had way less to deal with.
Yeah.
Now they can just almost do whatever they want, and it's easier for them.
Yeah.
So they can concentrate on things.
Yeah, but the thing with like your friend who like had to do tear, if they would have said ahead of time, hey, we're about to shoot this, we're gonna need a tear coming down their face. This actress can't cry. How should we shoot her so it's easier for you to add a tear? She would say like, well, make sure she doesn't move her face, and literally that's all I need. But if she was moving her face, it was probably harder,
Yeah.
because they said it after the fact. Like, God damn it, this actress couldn't cry. Can you add this?
But she kept jumping around. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Let's get to the
Meats and potatoes.
of the
We gotta get moving
Pottercast.
here, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great matchup.
Love this matchup.
Do you want to say what we're doing there?
Sure. We did one Jim Carrey movie last week in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. So we're talking to our friend Evan here today, and he threw out Cable Guy, which is a movie a lot of our guests go to, I've realized. So we usually ask our guests, we go, just some movies you love, you're passionate about, that we can pit against another movie. And I'll start off by saying I'm not a big fan of Cable Guy, which is why I'm going to be defending Truman Show against it.
Yeah. Now usually I would start with you, Evan, but I didn't know you were not such a
I kind of kept it from you the whole time. I go, God, I got some ammo coming.
You can start off. Why aren't you a big fan?
I hate Cable Guy.
Do you hate it?
I hate it. It's beloved. I know people love it.
I don't know if it's
I don't love
beloved.
it.
I think
it's beloved.
It's beloved from a
I think
certain
it's
generation.
underrated.
From a
The people
age
that
group.
love it do really love it because it's underrated, and it bombed at the box office. It has semi-okay reviews. It's like a 50-something%, I think.
And here's the thing. First, so there's a couple things for me personally. I don't love Jim Carrey.
Ooh.
I love Dumb and Dumber.
You don't love
I
Jim Carrey
love
now,
his
you
whole
never did.
canon of films. Just his whole canon. I don't love most of the things he's done. I just kind of think it's just Ace Ventura 1 and Dumb and Dumber, I would have to say, and I enjoy the Truman Show. That might be it for me.
This is a guy.
It's just, there's so much repetitive here, and here's the thing. This is also, which is why it's a good tie-in for me too. Cable Guy, directed by Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
Another guy I fucking can't stand.
Oh, there you go.
Really?
I can't stand. And the
His
two of them
DNA
together, I
is
just
all
go,
in it. Yeah.
this is such garbage.
So you always
wow.
felt that way? Or you mean later as you're in comedy, as you're older?
Obviously when I was younger, I got more of a kick out of Jim Carrey and his just like buffoonishness. I loved him on In Living Color.
Dude, that's so funny you said buffoonishness, because I swear I think that's exactly what Tommy Lee Jones said to him.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. When they were working on Batman Forever together, he could tell that Tommy Lee Jones didn't respect him, and he went up to Tommy and he was like, "Would you like to get like a bite to eat or something? Talk about the role." And he was like, "Your buffoonery." He says something like, "I have no patience for your buffoonery."
Yes.
No,
I think is what
I
he
hate
said.
the way he makes the Riddler Jim Carrey. He becomes a Jim Carrey character.
Well, they hired him exactly to do that.
Come on.
They hired him to do that. They were like, "Please."
I guess, but it's like
be Jim Carrey.
Hold on. How far off is the Riddler from Jim Carrey? The TV version was, what's his name? He's not that.
TV version.
All right, but it's just got
is
these little
silly
Jim
on
Carrey
purpose, though.
mannerisms.
What of the Riddler is there?
Okay, so personally,
the comic book and the animated series. Animated series is one of the best shows of all time.
Only comic nerds pay attention to that stuff.
All right, well, he just annoys me, I guess is my thing.
No, that's
why the Truman Show is a nice departure from that. I go, there's something I can actually stomach of Jim Carrey, because he's not doing the bendy kind of, I'm Jim Carrey about everything.
I think that Cable Guy is also
It also falls into that.
Is
no,
him
he
out
does
of his
that
comfort zone a little
lispy-
bit.
First of all, the lisp I hate as a choice.
But the Cable Guy...
It's dark, man.
It's dark. That's what the people
And
say.
he's a sick man. He's like
I get that.
Yeah. It's he's an awkward, lonely, like disturbed person. I thought that was like the first time
you can say the same things for Truman. He's a person who was never really allowed to grow up. He's been stuck in the same thing. It's actually kind of dark when he starts to realize that this might not be real life. You know what I mean? It's like there's outside forces controlling.
I love
Truman Show too. So it's like I'm not really going to be like, you know what, Truman Show does suck.
No, go ahead. A lot of times when you do the podcast, you find yourself pitted against another movie you also enjoy.
Yeah, of course. I think that I don't think that Truman Show and Cable Guy are the same thing and the same struggle for him as an actor. I think that like Truman Show, it's darker and it's like realer, but I don't think you're ever like rooting against him. Like you're always rooting for him, and he's lovable the whole time.
Okay, sure.
And like it ends really well, and there's a button on it, And I think the Cable Guy, even at the end, you're like, man, I didn't like you for the whole movie, and at the end I feel bad for you. It's not like I'm happy for you at any point. It's really dark.
It's got a way creepier vibe.
It's more of a risk, and it was a definite risk because it failed. And
I can't stand some of those scenes are just so hard to watch.
As a horror fan, you didn't like the nightmare scene?
No, I didn't like the nightmare scene.
That was
I
so
didn't
well
like
shot.
The whole naughty password game and the whole nipple. I hate the fucking way he says. It fucking drives me up a goddamn tree, dude. I don't like the party they have, like when he throws the party at Matt Brommer's house. Yeah, the karaoke. It's just so fucking oh god, it really fucking.
Well, I told you last time we did the show. I told you my Jim Carrey issue. I mentioned my Jim Carrey issue before, where
what's yours?
Where the fact that now he's like almost denouncing the things that made him a multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
So like there's things that he's like he has that whole story from when he was younger, and he goes, I wrote myself $1 million check, and then there's that finally able to cash it. Like, and then now everything he does is like, I'm an artist, and this is all bullshit.
I am you, and you are me, and this is all energy, and we're connected. And there's
fuck off for 20 years.
Man on the Moon is like you're doing.
That documentary is fascinating.
Yeah, I can't stomach him doing Andy Kaufman, who I also am not a huge fan of.
Have you seen Jim and Andy?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's fascinating, man.
It's creepy.
It's so funny to watch that because
Andy, you would hate him even more for watching it.
You would hate it even more, but love the documentary, and you'd love.
I'll watch it.
You would love everyone in the documentary that's not Jim Carrey
because they hate him.
Because they hated the experience, and like you go like they talk to Jerry the King Lawler, and he's like, yeah, well, he was doing what he thinks was like a Daniel Day-Lewis thing where he was in character, but like he would come up to my trailer as Andy. And I would be taking a shit, and he would shake my trailer, and I'd fall off the toilet, and I'd run outside and be like, what the hell? And it's like, hey, dude, Andy was nice to me. He's like, we're wrestlers. It was like an act. Like, we were mean to each other on camera. We were friends. Like, we were really nice to each other. So this character you think you're embodying, you're actually not.
And
but
it's Andy would fuck with people from Taxi, though. As Tony Clifton. As Tony Clifton.
And so they had to live it twice. Like, what's his name? Judd Hirsch had to live that twice because he got cast as himself in Man on the Moon.
Yeah.
And so he was terrorized by Andy Kaufman on Taxi, and then he played himself in Taxi in Man on the Moon and terrorized by.
I agree. I think
Carrey.
it's corny that he did that on the set of.
Dude. Yeah.
You hear about like a PA that had to deal with all that, and you're like, God. That's not worth the
he's
performance.
overwhelming.
It's basically like I'm saying. It's his attempt at holding on to artistic credibility.
Yeah.
So what's happening is he's going, I did Ace Ventura and I did the Good Liar and all these like straight up comedies.
And Truman Show was his first step where I guarantee. Yeah, he was famously making $20 million a year.
99? No.
98 got released in the summer of '98, and he took way less money. Still a decent amount of money, but he didn't take his famous $20 million a role. He took like $12 million to do it because he didn't want to be stereotyped. But I think it was too late. I mean, and then remember that movie, The Majestic, which is just so.
That one's a stinker, man. That one's a stinker. But people have stinkers, man.
Yeah, but I'm saying, I'm just saying, it's not a Jim Carrey fan over here.
Yeah, well, that I cannot change today. But
that's a big order.
I think if you were to watch certain things with like a different lens, you might. Like at least be able to appreciate what Ben Stiller was trying to do, maybe because like
But here's a guy who I think gets caught. That's why that was a bad pairing because both of those guys do the exact same character and make the exact same choices in every movie they make. that you could rattle off 4 Ben Stiller movies in the same with different titles, but they're the same plot in the same movie. You know, essentially. It's the same guy.
Heartbreak
And
Kid
what do you
and
mean?
Along
Like,
Came Polly
Yeah,
are the
exactly.
same
Along
movie.
Came Polly, Heartbreak Kid.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a
I'm
guy
not
with
gonna argue
lady
with
luck,
this, yeah.
and he's a bumbling, kind of lovable guy.
But
And
Tropic
even the same-
Thunder.
I've never even was a fan of any of the Meet the Parents franchise. Even it's just like it was to me the beginning of the dumbing down of De Niro. You know,
Oh yeah,
which is just like
it worked in
and
the
I
first
know that's
one,
not
though.
Ben Stiller's fault, but still.
Yeah.
Even the first one, it's just like, all right.
Well, the first one
fucking
was
get it.
It was already made. It was a movie that was made. And they bought. You know about that, right?
No, I didn't know
Oh,
that.
there was a movie called Meet the Parents or whatever it was called, and it was a small indie movie, and they bought the rights to that and they just redid it with stars.
Wow. That's what you hope for your small indie movie, but they hope they'll put you in it.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
That's
I
crazy.
don't think this guy was in it, but I think they gave it a story credit or whatever it was, and they bought like the rights to the whole thing.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying about Jim Carrey. I am on your side as far as Truman Show goes, but I do appreciate what he's done. So like when he was fine with the fact that he was trying to be famous and he was, like you said, you loved him on In Living Color. Like when he's in his wheelhouse, I love him. And Truman Show is like outside of his wheelhouse, but it's still quality. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just all around a better movie. It's a little more deeper movie. It's a little more themes that run a little deeper, obviously, than Cable Guy. But you
I
can
don't know.
make some similar points
There's
too.
themes, yeah. I mean,
There are themes where
there's
the
obsession and loneliness, and
which I think Truman Show also has. I think, despite Truman's a lonely character in the end. You know what I mean? Like if you just take a look at he doesn't seem to be. He's not perceived as lonely because millions
he's
of people are
completely
watching
alone.
him.
He's absolutely
But,
completely
yes, totally alone.
There's everyone in his life that he thinks is in
Fake.
his life is not in his life. They go home at the end of the day and like talk to their regular family, like presumably, they're actors.
Well, it's definitely a good ending. Truman Show has a great ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cable Guy almost has
Both
like a
solid endings. I will give Cable Guy that. I'm glad they killed the character off. It would have been such a lesser movie if it was just like,
Did they kill the character off?
Yeah, he dies.
Oh yeah, you're
He
right.
dies in the satellite.
Yeah, you're right. He dies
Up
in the
on the
satellite. I guess I forgot about that.
You don't like that, right?
Cable dies.
Even. Yeah. Well, I mean, I will say the movie has kept medieval times open. That's pretty.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's done a lot for medieval times, and I
So-
appreciate it for that because
Now
we
the-
went to Mike Racine's birthday there.
But I think you're right. Aesthetics wise, I'm also on the side of Truman Show. I think it's shot better.
Yeah, it's a
I
little
think
nicer to look at.
It's nice to look at. But
It's
the one-
Ron Howard, you know what I mean? I mean, it is like I actually respect Ben Affleck. Oh, Jesus
No,
Christ.
it's not Ron Howard.
Ben Stiller.
He didn't direct it.
No, it's
I thought he did.
It's somebody else.
It's not Ron Howard. It was written by Scott Nickel and it's directed by Scott Weir was the director.
Yes.
And somebody Nickel was the writer.
Oh wow, dude!
Andrew-
Why did I
Andrew
think that
Nichol.
was Ron Howard?
Andrew
dude?
Nickel and
And-
Scott Weir.
Andrew Nichol was the writer, and Scott Weir was the director.
Why did I?
They might have
Ron
been.
Howard?
Maybe
And
Scott
I
Weir
think
produced.
Scott Weir did 3 other movies or something like that. Yeah, one of those kind of things.
It's funny. They wanted that guy Nickel to direct, and they were like, "No, we don't think," because they gave it a big budget, and then actually the guy came in really under budget. But then the first film he actually ended up directing was Gattaca.
Gattaca, yeah. Which I didn't mind Gattaca.
I like
I like
Gattaca, man.
Gattaca too, but it always
Did
takes
it
me back.
bomb? Did it bomb Gattaca?
Definitely, it definitely
Oh,
didn't make
yeah,
a lot
it
of
was big.
money. Yeah,
I thought the idea was great. I remember watching Gattaca.
It had that great Norm Macdonald doing Larry King when he would do his CNN show. And he'd go, "All right, gang, for my money, film of the year, Gattaca." It was just such a funny.
So what do we come down to then? What is we did the director? The directing's better on Truman Show.
yeah. I just want to say something quick about Ben Stiller. Is that he always wanted to be a director, and I love
It's
that.
funny how many people are like that because Jonah Hill's in
lot-
that
yeah,
part
yeah.
now. But
Yeah, I heard Ben Stiller on some podcast recently, and he was like, I always wanted to be a director, and the acting came. And the way that you feel about his movies, he actually felt that way about himself. He was like, I was getting cast as like the likable guy in a bad relationship,
Yeah,
and he was like,
yeah,
and it
I'm
was
not
driving
gonna-
him crazy. And now he's directing like good stuff. He directed that great show on Showtime, The Escape from McNamara or whatever it's called.
Oh, Dannemora?
Dannemora, yeah.
I didn't see that, but
And yeah.
listen, I think
But
a lot of
also-
people who get in want to or have the egos to be, I can do everything, which I totally understand and I get that. And I would never knock anybody for go out, do your thing, make your money, and have a career. Absolutely. Yeah. But for the purposes of what we do here, I'm totally gonna shit on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you.
I'll tell you,
I'm sure. Look, Jerry Stiller is one of my favorite people of all time. As we,
it's one of those things where when it comes to what was I going to say? When it comes to Ben Stiller, his career could have gone a totally different way. Like a lot of those guys, I guess they want to be directors and they get into acting because they're better at acting than Ben Affleck. That's happened with Jonah Hill.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck, did he always want to be a director as well?
Yeah, I mean, he the first thing he did.
They wrote Good Will Hunting.
Yeah, he was trying to.
But they never wrote anything
it's
after that.
It's natural to want to try and do that. You know what I mean? It's like,
but if you
when
look
you're in
at
that industry, you always want to be able to I have a vision, I can see this.
Early Ben
and
Stiller,
now I have the leverage to be able to make something.
Yeah.
Early Ben Stiller is. You ever watch Empire of the Sun, the movie?
No,
it's great. You never saw it?
No.
It's fantastic.
Is that the one that he's
it's
what about?
Is that the one where he's an addict?
No,
Which one was he an addict?
that's Permanent Midnight.
Permanent Midnight.
Yeah.
Where he plays a writer, but I didn't know this until years later. It's the writer of Alf. It's the guy who created Alf.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the point of the whole thing. Yeah.
Wow.
Because it's a puppet in the movie, and But no, he played like one of the Air Force guys that got captured in Empire of the Sun. It's such an Christian Bale when he was 13.
Yeah.
And he's great in it. It's definitely worth it. It's Spielberg. It's also timeless. You can watch it now. And
One of the only Spielbergs I've never seen.
Really?
Empire
it's
of the Sun,
so good.
I haven't either. Yeah,
It's
I can't think of another Spielberg.
It's well
I haven't
acted.
seen.
It's so well shot.
Speaking of captured and Christian Bale, have you seen Rescue Dawn? Werner
no.
Herzog directed it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I
man.
heard it's great.
Steve Zahn actually
Yes,
in that
I
movie
have.
puts in a hell of a performance. dude.
Really?
Steve Zahn, underrated man.
Oh yeah,
He was incredible in that movie. He loses his mind when they're trying to escape a Vietnam camp.
another true. Yeah.
That happens a lot. With that's why they say with comedic actors. That's why they bring them in for a lot of stuff like that. Like you can reach drama more than dramatic actors can reach comedy.
Mm-hmm. The comedy's the hardest thing.
Well, I feel like you can count on one hand the amount of dramatic famous actors that were able to pull off comedy and then became comedy staples. Gene Wilder.
Yeah.
Dude, I
Gene
love
Wilder
the
just
story.
played himself.
Yeah, I love the Mel Brooks' story of Gene Wilder discovering Gene Wilder. Because Gene Wilder, let me know if you heard this, but he was acting in one of Mel Brooks' wife's plays, and Mel Brooks went to the show, and it was a serious play, but everyone was just laughing. They were just laughing all the time he was up there, and he was getting mad. He was getting mad at these people, and so Mel went up to him afterwards and was like, "You are the funniest person I've ever seen." And Gene Wilder was like, "Wow, I'm so frustrated. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to be serious. I'm not funny." And Mel was like, hey. He was like, "You have no control over the fact that you got the thing, but you got the thing.
Yeah.
So
it's
use
true.
the thing." You know what I mean?
And it was true because he played it straight so much.
Yeah.
And it was brilliant.
It was
Because
amazing.
that's always funnier. If
Absolutely.
you push the funny,
Well,
it's not
Leslie
funny
Nielsen
anymore.
was a serious actor
That's
before.
what I was
But
thinking.
they
Yeah.
go play it completely straight and deadpan.
And
you go, that's some of the greatest comedic actors
Yeah,
I've ever
Bill
seen.
Murray, dude. Bill Murray
And, he
plays
was,
it pretty
and
straight.
Leslie Nielsen was a dramatic actor in like the 60s.
Yeah.
But what's
There's a
his name?
bunch of guys like that. I mean, and especially those guys in the Zucker Brothers movies. They use those guys a lot.
Oh yeah.
Where, what's his name? His partner.
Bridges. Lloyd Bridges is kind of like
Lloyd
that.
Bridges is very much like that. Yeah, a lot of those movies where they would just use these old serious actors and put them in completely comedic roles.
That's like a Tarantino thing almost. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
taking somebody that we've forgotten about or put in a box and bringing them out of the box.
Well, you look at Gene Wilder. Watch it. There's an interview he did with 92Y before he died. And it's boring. It's just him.
Yeah.
He's just an old curmudgeon. He's kinda like, I'm cold. Like it's just like him, like not being that funny and not getting why he was funny and like not being even that personable for an interview. Like it was. Don't get me wrong. It was fine, but I'm like he comes off like just an old dude that's at the end of his rope. You know?
Comedians, we have those friends, man, who just they're the funniest people in the world, and they would never be able to channel it on stage, you know, and they're just so fun, like the funniest people I've ever met are my knuckleheads back in North Carolina. Yeah.
Should we wrap it up there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Should we do a final rebuttal here as far as like one sentence on why you.
Dude, he's a brick wall with this,
think-
man. I don't know.
You're not gonna get
I think we
cable
just have
guy.
to agree to disagree on it.
Yeah,
Well, I
this is going to be a
guess,
stalemate.
you hate the fact is your hate for Ben Stiller and Jim Carrey have
that
joined
has-
forces, and that's why you hate this movie.
No, that's not why. I just think it's a...
I think it's a perfect storm of hatred.
Yeah, it is a perfect storm of hatred.
It really
You guys
is.
individually, I don't like on
Yeah.
their own, but I just like the hackiness, the tropes of the movie annoy me.
I think I have
The
to give
choices
it-
they make in the movie annoy me. I don't like the way Jim Carrey acts out his character in the movie.
You don't like
I
that
don't
Matthew
even-
Broderick killed a person with his car. He's just holding real life things against it.
I was like, I don't even remember that in the movie.
This is
I
real
think,
life.
I think Truman Show, just because it's such a more interesting plot. Just a bit. You're right. There's way more of a bigger take there. There's way more going on.
Yeah.
than in Cable Guy. Cable Guy is just single white female with the cable guy, and it's just goofy, but it's shot dark. And to be honest, it failed because they put Jim Carrey in it. Like. That's what I'm saying. It's good that he was trying to change things up.
Yeah.
But you put another darker actor in that, and it would probably.
I would have liked to have seen that.
I think it failed because they put Jim Carrey in it because of our expectations we put on people.
Absolutely.
People
but it
saw
still
Jim
happened.
Carrey in the trailer and they're like, I'm going to go watch Ace Ventura 3. And then they went there and it wasn't
Yeah.
Ace Ventura 3. And
But it was lacking. Like,
Weirder and darker and, you know.
Yeah, it throws you off when you're watching it. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I see what they're going for
Expectations are
here.
huge, man. Like,
Yeah.
I've noticed this with A24, man. A24 puts out trailers that look like horror movies, and you go there and it's actually just like an art house drama film, like a
that
ghost
one
story.
in the forest with the sci-fi thing.
I don't remember exactly what you mean, but
I forget the name of it. It's with an A. It starts with an A.
like
also.
The Witch was not like a. I mean, it's horror, but it's not like
I
horror
don't
the
know
way
The Witch.
people wanted horror.
Oh, The Witch looked like a straight up horror movie. to me.
That was one of the
Yeah.
scariest trailers I ever saw in my life, and then it
Yeah.
totally didn't live up
It's
to the
like
movie
a
for me.
period drama.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh
and
my
then
God,
there's
I
this
was-
one, It Comes at Night, which is absolutely not horror. It's just it's a post-apocalyptic, like, dreadful drama, like just bleak drama, like The Road. And the trailer made
The Road.
it seem like
Great
there
book, too.
was something that comes at night. It made it seem like there was a
Right, right.
monster. Like the trailer was really shot like there was
Yeah,
a
it's in the
monster.
title.
It's in the title. It Comes at Night.
waiting
and
for
there's
it.
Literally not. It's like it's a metaphor or whatever.
I just
Yeah.
remembered. This might be also another reason subconsciously why I don't like Cable Guy. It was originally written for Chris Farley. He turned it down. And it would have been a whole totally different movie.
That would have been
And
crazy.
I can
It would've been crazy,
picture.
would've been.
You can almost picture the Farley doing his Farley thing, but
Yeah.
I it would have been interesting to see.
Yeah.
I think for either of those dudes, you'd have to lighten up. It could still be creepy and weird, but you'd have to lighten up the look.
I think it would the tone would
Because
have
if you
been a
look
lot
at like
different.
right now, I bring up this movie sometimes in the podcast. I love, and it's really goofy, and it's not really the same, but it's similar. Is Clifford? Clifford with Martin Short.
With Martin Short.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it as a comedy.
It's so
But
silly,
it's
man.
I mean, Martin
creepy.
Short's, you know.
What?
Hard to find anything that he's going to do wrong.
No, what I'm
way more
saying is
immensely
this.
talented and funnier than Jim Carrey.
What I'm
is.
saying is this: that you could think about this. You have Ben Stiller direct Clifford. It comes off way different. You put a dark take on Clifford.
Sure.
It comes off way different. The last 20 minutes of Clifford is way darker than the earlier part of the movie.
Yeah.
Because it's set up just like a goofy 80s comedy, early 90s comedy.
Yeah.
But you have something behind it where they're like, oh yeah, there's like a creepier script here that we could like concentrate on. You have Cable Guy. That's what I'm saying. Like you could pull it off that way. That's why I think hey, they took the swing they missed. That's why I go a Truman Show, because Cable Guy, they brought it back into the middle of, as far as like, you always look at movies how they're shot, like on the light spectrum. So it's like you shot it too dark.
Literally dark.
You literally
Physically dark.
Physically dark.
Yeah.
You brought that up a little bit. Maybe some of the comedy would have gotten away with it.
And for
But
me,
when it-
I love individuality, man. And I like that they didn't write it, man. I like that they didn't write it.
I like the
It's
attempt, but it didn't work out. The final
It
thing.
did not. It
And
didn't
that's-
work out.
Yeah, that's
no.
what, yeah.
It bombed, and Andy hates it.
And Andy's
That
really
was their
upset.
main goal, is that Andy would love it. And
Evan, thank you so much for doing this,
Thank
man.
you guys, man. It was a lot of fun.
Come back, because we should have him on all the time, because
I know, Evan's a great
he
movie
knows
guy.
so much.
I'm sorry if I talk too much.
Not
I get
at
a
all.
little
No, not at all.
autistic about it.
Where
Where
would
can we
to plug
find
in?
you? Yeah, plug away.
Plug away, dude.
Yeah, I mean, you can find me on Instagram at It's Evan Williams. You can find my dates at evanwilliamscomedy.com.
Perfecto.
Very cool.
And Mr. Fiore.
You can listen to my Sirius XM radio show if you have that service every Thursday live at 4 p.m. on Sirius XM channel 99. And for all my dates, you can find me at andyfiore.com. I got Omaha, Nebraska coming up, at the Funny Bone, a bunch of road coming up in the fall. And it's Andy Fiore on social media.
And I am at Shawnee Time on Instagram and Twitter, and you can check SeanDonnellyComedy.com for all my dates. Also, I have a show on Sirius once a month. It's called Celebrate. It's on Raw Dog. And that is the show. Thank you guys so much again. Andy, good to see you, brother.
As always, yes.
And what else do we want to tell him, Andy?
You guys have been so great at tweeting at us at Defend Your Movie. You guys have been very engaged, which we love. Me and Shawnee will always write back, and we love to hear your thoughts and opinions. And if there's any matchups you want to see, throw them at us.
Yeah. Email us, defendyourmovie@gmail.com. But if you can, definitely tweet away. We will respond, and we'll get a movie conversation going, and we'll get some likes on it, and it'll be fun. We'll see you guys next week, and thank you so much.
Bye.